good to be back, isn't it? Like,
Yeah, it's
and
nice to be back recording.
Episodes, obviously, yeah, for anyone like clarity, obviously, we are now different clothes. We are new recording session.
Yeah.
So the last two that you heard were recorded at the same time. And they've both gone down rather well, haven't they?
Yeah, so the first one we had was the content problem episode, which actually was probably the most messages I've received from an episode.
Yeah.
In terms of like our Instagram got some messages, we got some comments on Spotify, and you know I got sent from other photographers and videographers some shocking things, mostly around suppliers bringing content creators or videographers to weddings on top of the couple's videographer or content creator, and like the stories are coming out and clearly people are thinking this is an issue for
and I think also
year.
maybe so from compared to what we'd witnessed, some of the stories that then came out after the episode were a lot worse than some of the stuff we spoke about in it. And I also think really refreshingly as well, which I also really enjoyed, is that the wedding that I spoke about in that episode where I worked with a content creator and that we had the problem with the hair and makeup, the bride actually from that wedding sent us a message, didn't she, on the pod?
She did, yeah.
So she obviously saw about what we were talking about, and listened to the episode and left us a really nice kind of comment, and it was really refreshing as well from that kind of couple perspective for her to say, I appreciate that the hair and makeup people needed their content, but we were in a real pinch at that point. And me, selfishly, I'd paid them to do my hair, not to make content for themselves. I'm really aware that they need that stuff. But at the same time, when the way that she saw it was they get what they need or I don't get the stuff for my gallery because we were in a real tight pinch, it was kind of refreshing to know that it wasn't just us kind of being butthurt suppliers going, well, I want to have a turn. It was actually like the bride to go, no, we have paid you to make this content.
And you won't play your own trumpet, but she also said you got a better photo in that 30 seconds than they did in the time that they were doing their thing.
Yes.
So, which is the thing that matters to them, right? So
exactly, yes,
yeah.
Or again, of them as a paying customer, or the reason that we're all in weddings is that you want to make your clients happy, don't you? And like she said, I'm never going to see that lady's content.
Yeah.
Although she needs it to get.
That's the reason we do this. We're trying to do different perspectives, and we don't want you to. If you're a videographer and photographer and you've turned up, and I've had a few messages recently about photographers that have turned up or videographers that have turned up, and there's another one there, and you're like, oh hi, what are you here for? Oh, the venue's hired me to film the day so that they can put it on their social media. Oh, and it's like, and that with varying levels of acceptance with that. Like one photographer said to me that they turned up and the venue had a photographer there for the whole day, and this photographer would refuse to talk to the actual photographer because it's like there was so like they just didn't want to talk because they'd been hired by the venue. Like, this is my job, I'm doing this. Like, I'll stay out of your way, but I'm not going to really talk to you. And it's like that's just what is going on here. Yeah. So you're not alone if you turned up to a wedding and this has happened, and you're not alone in being a little bit disturbed by it. I just
don't understand why you would do that. Like, I'm just sat here now and it's just kind of
it's like
I've said, like, and we did say in that episode, like, I've been asked a couple of times, we've got a wedding today where, as a florist, I've got a really big rollout, it'd be lovely to have someone there, but don't worry, you'll be here before even the guests are here, just to get something for us because we're set up pre. But I think if a venue contacted me and was like, we want you to come along for this whole wedding day to get stuff for us, my first question would be, well, why don't you just ask the photographer to shoot in the day?
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
To get to have their content.
Yeah.
Like, have a conversation with them, who the couple are. And if you don't feel that the couple have booked a great supplier that's going to showcase your thing best, then that's fine. But it's like, I think I would already be having those conversations of, well, I'm not going to get in their way. If they have a problem with me being in that moment at that time, I'm not going to capture that.
Yeah.
Like, you as a venue don't need close-ups to the ceremony. You just need some wides of that things happening in that space.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, can you reach out to the photographer and let him know that I'm going to arrive, because I don't want to be that person that's there on the day when they turn up. That's going to be super awkward. Yeah. I don't want to fuel this.
You don't want to be that guy.
Yeah, exactly that. So,
we got messages from, I got messages and we had a Spotify comment as well from makeup artists saying, look, like, we understand that it's a bit of an issue, but we do need to get our content. I think we tried to put that across.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's not, I don't think, like, neither of us are mad at that happening, because we definitely know that you need to get your content. It's everything as a whole. It's like the combination of things, isn't it? And like, there is no way around it apart from maybe talking in the morning and being like, can I just get my photos and videos first, which we maybe need to take responsibility for. But we definitely understand in terms of like makeup, hair and that kind of thing. You need that to survive.
Yeah, there was something in that comment I think that really struck with me, and that makeup artist, and apologies, I'm not got the comment in front of me to kind of shout you out, but said, in today's market, if we don't do that content, we will not have a business.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
Gen Z brides want to see real people.
yeah,
Which I think is really interesting in itself, in that the way that we put as photographers and videos so much stall or hate or something onto style
yeah,
shoots, where it's like, is there even a point to that then? If you're saying that the conversations that the hair and makeup are having, particularly from like that point of view, is that the couples can see through it and they don't want to
yeah,
see
definitely.
someone perfectly little. They don't want to see even they even don't almost don't want to see the pro pics as marketing. They don't want to see our stuff. They want to see those phone before and afters. And maybe because that is a very realistic metric that they can compare, because they can take their own photo and
Yeah,
video.
yeah.
It's very much then, isn't it? Okay, this is what I look like on my phone. If she's doing that on the same phone as me and make that bride look like that, that means that she is good at her job.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of segues really nicely, doesn't it, into kind of the topic that we want to talk about today.
Yep. So we have been sort of building this up for a while, but we wanted to give our opinion on content creators, and
Yes.
we're talking actual content creators this time, mostly hired by the couple, and not sort of suppliers who are making content on
Yeah,
the
and I
day.
think that's it. And I think it is all kind of leading up. And I don't want you to feel that it's kind of just it's the same topic that we're going over all the time. And hopefully the episodes will be different. And we are kind of putting feelers out, and we have made kind of inquiries that we would love to get a content creator on.
Yeah.
But we feel before we jump straight into that conversation that we had the episode last time about the kind of the problem of needing to get content all told as a supplier.
Yeah.
I think it's important that now we sit down and have a conversation about our direct experiences of working with content creators, or kind of clarifying what we perceive content creators to be, their place, and how they've come about.
Yeah.
And I think then if you can listen to both of these episodes, it makes kind of that kind of part 3, if you like, when we finally do get the content creator on, hopefully they can listen to those and know that we're not going to try and get them on to try and catch them out of anything, or come at it by a certain way, that our feelings towards it and how we perceive them to be are very clear before we have that conversation.
Yeah, we're more than capable of seeing things through different perspectives, and obviously a lot of people talk to us about, because we do this, I guess, and we're quite openly spoken, that a lot of people talk to me and you about these kind of things and have different opinions on them. And so part of this is to echo some of that, and talk through some of that, though, like what issues are people having with content creators, what are they for in terms of like for the couple, and what experiences we've had with them, I guess, and what we think of them and our opinions. But yeah, so we wanted to sort of talk through that, and this is not going to be that Facebook group that slates, oh, what are we doing here, like all this stuff. Like I think we have similar opinions on it. I think
there are a couple of bits, obviously, like when we start to build the notes, I think there's a couple of bits where we almost don't agree, or things that we're going to kind of cause a conversation about.
Yeah.
But yeah, primarily I think that we do kind of come at it from the same way. And also being sat here as a photographer and you as a videographer as well, this is very much an episode where we don't want to get our opinions in. Like we say, I want it to come across as the most well-rounded conversation about experiences we've had, and kind of offering reasons from conversations that we've had as to why we think content creators are flourishing. There's more of them coming in, their place, because I still think they are still finding their place in weddings.
Yeah.
That hopefully it doesn't come across as, oh well, you're just a photo and video guy with a platform and a podcast, so you're here to spill and tell everybody how it's going to be. I don't want it to be like that at all.
No. Yeah, we're not here to tell you to just deal with it and get over it and start working in harmony with everyone. But there's obviously a lot of people with a lot of frustration, so we want to talk those through, really.
Definitely, yeah. So I think the best place to start, I guess, is to have kind of like a brief summary or a bullet point kind of list of what do you perceive a content creator is, or what differentiates a content creator from, say, a photographer or a videographer.
Yeah, so in the context we're talking about, is a content creator is hired by the couple. They turn up to the wedding with normally just a phone, probably on a gimbal, and they're walking around, they're taking photos and videos. That's probably the biggest generalization of it. Then those photos and videos probably get delivered within 48 hours by a Dropbox link, and then to varying different degrees, they do like highlights, films, or teasers or whatever afterwards as well.
I think that purely depends, doesn't it? Obviously, from the things that we've seen, or the conversations that I've had, it depends. It is at the very least, say that like raw footage, if that's what you want to call it, kind of will come over the next day or the day after,
Yeah,
and that is literally all of the clips that they have taken and all of the photos they have taken, and then obviously those get then collated into either one highlight film or a series of
of reels
highlight
or
films
yeah,
that come out, but still pretty quickly. Sometimes I think there's some of them are saying that they'll promise to deliver those within a week.
yeah.
That almost, which they deem as like the finished kind of highlight thing.
Okay, yeah,
That's kind of the people that I've worked with have always said, yeah, normally within the week they'll have this 3, 4, 5 minute kind of real highlight thing, and
yeah,
most, and again, always delivered vertically,
yeah.
to music. Some of them have audio, most of them don't, and like that.
And
Yeah,
it's photos and videos most of the time. I seem to think that it's for some reason more video that
I
they
would say more
take.
video.
Yeah.
I think I'm not saying that they don't take photos, but the Catherine that I worked with most recently, I said to her, "Oh, do you take photos as well?" And she was like, "Sometimes, but
Yeah.
often not." A lot of it for me is about just again purely capturing that behind the scenes or just
Yeah.
what's going on. So naturally, kind of as stuff's playing out, it's easier to just kind of record clips, and even if it is literally just kind of pans of drink receptions or odd bits, most of it, I think she said there is a lot more video in that.
Yeah.
The only time that you maybe would take photos if something's happening and one of us isn't around.
Yeah.
So that there's almost a time that you feel that you need both, or you're replacing something that isn't there,
Yeah. Or better get a photo here.
rather than just, oh, I'm going to shoot over your shoulder.
Yeah. And more recently, I think that there's been a bit of an increase in content creators then merging their stuff into videography a little bit. I've seen drones being flown by content creators. I've seen, and not actually seen this, I've heard stories of them miking people up during speeches and things and vowels and things like that.
Both people that
Usually
I've-
only when the videographer's
yeah.
not there, but
Both that I would say that both of the content creators that I've worked with on days where there has been no videographer.
Yeah.
But both of them have mic'd up, normally just the groom,
Yeah.
or left a mic on the table to kind of pick up audio for ceremony and for speeches,
Yeah.
so that they've got that, whether they then deliver that as audio files or they use it over the highlights or it's just delivered as raw footage. I don't know, but they have both taken audio as well, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
When again, a lot of the content creators that we've spoken about or talked about have literally almost just been run and gun with their phone.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like that's the content creation as a genre expanding, because if you asked like a year, 18 months ago, it probably wouldn't have been that. Like content creators probably weren't using drones, or the first few were sort of getting into it or miking up people and that kind of thing.
I think that the drone thing, I think, is always going to come as like a gimmick or whatever. But I'd be really interested to know that where that audio level has come from. Has that come from couples asking? Like particularly in the instances that I found where they've almost had a content creator and not a videographer. It's been, oh, can you not get some audio, or can you not just film the speeches? Because almost that's what we've paid you to make content, and that's some of the biggest content of our day is to maybe have speeches. But again, how that would work, but whether those content creators would still do that when they know there's going to be a more legacy film, that I would find interesting.
Yeah.
But it was, or it'd be interesting to know whether those content creators are taking audio because they see the power in it, or they've been asked to.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of,
it's something that over time
yeah.
people have started asking for this. I'll just add this onto my package, and yeah.
Yeah, because I guess that, again, I can only speak broadly. So the both instances that I've had I've worked on dates where there isn't videographers, where clearly all of the content creators you've worked with have been on a day where you then have had photo, video, and content creation. So maybe in the same way that we spoke about in the past, that I feel sometimes I'm able to work slightly differently, or I'm able to shoot slightly differently, or I find that I maybe dig into kind of storytelling even more so if there's not a videographer to fill in the gaps.
Yeah.
Our content creators finding the same, that they almost are providing different content on days where there is a videographer as days where there isn't.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, because if I turned up to a wedding, they said, oh, we decided not to have a photographer, that would open up a door for me to take a few photos
Exactly.
on the day.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
In the same way that if there's not a videographer, they can step in where the videographer would maybe record audio and things like that.
Or look at days like obviously when we had Hannah on at the start of the year, someone with her that's flourished really, really well doing hybrid, and obviously now a lot of other photographers that are starting to offer hybrid as well. I'd like to think that a lot of those photographers aren't doing that hybrid coverage on days that they are working with the video team.
Yeah.
So I guess there's that kind of level to it as well, which something maybe I'd not even thought about when we sat down, is that although that we're kind of that label of content creation, is there are levels to it depending on who you are working alongside.
Yeah.
And I don't doubt that there will be weddings that will come soon or even happening now where they're not having photo and video, they are purely having content creation.
Yeah.
And I would love to know how much photo they're taking,
When they do that.
alongside video, if
Yeah.
they know they are the sole person
Yeah, it's a
making
really good
content.
point about the hybrid stuff as well. I never really thought about that because, I mean, I myself and I'm sure a lot of other videographers have in their contract like the exclusivity, like I'll be the only person recording video, and mainly that came from the whole hybrid photography video thing.
Yeah.
Because there was one, I mean, I put it in because there was one wedding in like 2018 or something where the photographer turned up and was recording a highlights reel, so she had a second person with her recording a film. So we were gimbaling confetti down together, and I was like, "What are we doing here?"
What? Yeah.
So I put that in for that. And although it's not something that I particularly talk about much or have ever really had to enforce, like once content creators start coming onto the scene, that then is like, I got people, I think the first one who booked me, like, I know it's in your contract saying no one else is taking video, but we've recorded, but we've booked this. So deal with it.
Yeah.
The couple was literally just like, I know it's in your contract, but it's happening regardless. And that was the first time I'd worked with a content creator, and we'll get into those experiences.
Yeah,
in a
maybe
bit,
it's quite interesting because I added it to my contract a couple of years ago. It says, kind of in that throws, are you having a cake? Are you having a first dance? Then there's a section about suppliers where I get people to add the suppliers that they're using on the day, so that mainly so I can tag them in and stuff if I do post on Instagram. But there is a very direct, are you having a videographer? Yes, no. And then if yes, can you pop their name in here just so I kind of know who I'm working with?
Yeah.
Maybe that needs to be changed to, are you having a videographer / content creator? Because a couple of times people have gone, no, but we've got this person. So maybe I need to update the wording in that as well. So then even again, you're just aware going into the day.
But you've only worked with content creators that are not with videographers,
Yes.
right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's only a matter of time before it happens that I will work with.
I think that's where it shines, but
with kind of like the trifecta, if you like, the photo, the video, and the content.
Yeah. So my first one was 2 videographers, 2 photographers, and a content creator.
See, I think that's
and
overkill.
It was a lot.
And maybe I automatically, my like knee-jerk reaction is that won't happen to me because of the type of couples that I book.
Yeah.
I don't think that any of my couples, and again, I hate that, like my couples, like, or the people that I attract to, I don't think are that focused on having so much quantity of photo video content, if that's what you want to use, that they would go down that option to have 2 photographers.
It's more about the quality and what's in that thing that's important to them, not just I want loads of footage.
Where I think a lot of people in the end have almost been scaremongered into like, or heard horrors, or like, I just so wish that I had that from my day. And it's like, and they've kind of been conditioned to like, your wedding day is a few hours long, and it's but you want to remember it forever. So almost that. Well, I want to get as much as I can.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like sort of like TLDR in terms of what we think. I personally, I've worked with content creators and they've all been lovely. I think maybe I've been lucky, but the ones I've worked with have all been absolutely lovely people. I've received BTS like Dropbox folders of BTS footage of me from them, which is a nice little bonus. Obviously, that the first time I rocked up and I was a bit like, oh, I'm not sure how this is going to be. But that was Kaylee from Social Sisters, and it was absolutely fine. I think the element of us 3 standing at the front of the ceremony all together, like pointing it at the vows, was a little bit like, I hope the couple are okay with this. I felt a little bit more conscious about standing at the front of the ceremony.
I guess, do you see that though? Because obviously where you've got a back angle anyway, so when you're editing that ceremony, like I only felt this kind of in a wedding recently where I was like, they had like a floral arch, and I was like, it's really nice, I can kind of hide behind this. And I've never really been that aware of like, that you're literally stood next to the registrar sometimes, and it's quite obvious that you're there, and how that appeals when you've got guests like kind of looking at you, and to have this kind of wall of gimbals and stuff, that must be quite a lot, or you really do stand out, don't you, at that moment, which I guess that maybe you get reminded of that more often when you're editing the ceremony and you look at that back angle and there is just like one groom, and then all of a sudden behind them is just like
a photographer, me maybe in the corner,
and like it just seems like there's a lot of people still at the front there.
You start to notice it. And I know, like, as a couple, or at least my experience of my wedding, like, you're so laser focused that you most of the time you won't even notice those people are there.
You're looking back down the aisle to wait for your partner to arrive. You're not like, oh crap, there's a photographer.
You're not even thinking about those things. You're so laser focused on what's happening and saying the right things. But so like overall the days really didn't change much for me. I didn't feel like anybody nobody was getting in the way. The ones I've worked with have been very respectful, and I'm very camera conscious as well. And like,
Yeah.
it's not to blow my own trumpet, but I would try and make sure not to walk in front of their shots, because even though like I don't know, that their expectations. Oh yeah, they've been like, oh, you're fine to walk in
Yeah.
front. It's like, no, I'll always walk around behind,
Yeah.
because I know that you're filming something which the couple was equally paid for. So
And I think that's just you being a good, respectful human, or I think there's, and then we spoke about this endlessly. If you've been listening to this podcast for any length of time, you'll know that I walk into a wedding day, or you walk into a wedding day, and I think that all suppliers should be treated as equals. Like, I think this hierarchy system is such a myth.
yeah,
That there's like, well, the photographers came first, so they should be the lead. Then the videographer has to fall in behind them, and now there's probably videographers that feel that the content creator has to fall in behind them, and all this.
yeah,
It's not like that. And
no,
I must admit, again, the two that I've worked with, I've always just treated them as if they're a videographer,
yeah,
but a videographer with a fixed 28.
yeah,
So I've always
yeah,
been more mindful. That's the conversations that I would have with a videographer. Go, what lens are you using? So I know whether I can either shoot behind you or we stand next to each other.
yeah,
It's almost, and again, maybe that's my naivety, is to think that they're always using the 1x lens, so they're quite wide.
yeah.
So they need to be close. Where in actuality they can probably,
A lot of them are using the 5
are
times, or
using the 2 or the 5, so they have that lens variety that we do.
yeah,
And so yeah, but again, that reason I think is, yeah, it's almost kind of, we've both come at it as not well, they're here taking our job, so they can fall in behind us.
yeah.
You've always tried to treat them with the respect that any other supplier working alongside you would have.
Yeah, but at the same time, we have different strengths, different weaknesses, and different, like a lot of photographers, I guess, would. We've spoken about this before in terms of like the videographer posing the couple. Like, a lot of videographers just don't want to pose the couple,
Yeah.
and maybe that's true. But even more so with content creators, like they want to get your poses, but then they don't necessarily want to step in and do all the posing.
Well,
stuff.
maybe that's another
they do,
layer.
but-
Perhaps they're going to. Like, I found that, again, I've always assumed that the people that have content creators are getting them because they purely want that unfiltered BTS as it happens content. But maybe in the end, that's going to be like the next prong of content creators that come in that will start to go, oh, well, I need this for my content. I'm going to pose them to do this because I need this for this transition or whatever.
Even that's changing, I think. I quickly Googled content creators this morning, and like, the websites are just full of couple shots. And you think, I thought that content creators were to get the BTS and the natural stuff, but it's all couple shot like photos. I'm like, okay.
But I've been having this internal kind of struggle, I think, myself anyway, is that I would profess or call myself a documentary moment-led photographer.
Yeah.
But I still look over the top of my grid, and I'm still feeling that pressure to post more couple shots, or maybe my website, my portfolio got more couple shots in it than, and I've even spoke on stories and stuff, going, well, probably 90% of what I shoot on a day is, as it happened, it's not couple shots.
Yeah.
But if you look at what I show, so much more of it is couple shots. And maybe that is just the bigger myth all told.
Yeah.
Is that even they're feeling that to be even seen or adequate in the mix of everything, that they're having to kind of lead couple first.
Yeah.
In order to get the booking.
The wedding imagery, isn't it? Like, what people associate with a wedding is a couple in front of a
the bride and
venue
groom.
or whatever. Yeah. That makes sense.
It's interesting. Yeah.
I don't think that content creators themselves are the problem. I think that content creating is a good idea. I think it's filling a gap in the market that we've created. I might as well put this in now, but I think that photographers and videographers have created content creators because we're getting so much more honed in on, oh, there's a fire exit there, we can't do that, or this person's smoking, better not film them, even if they're having a good time. If they're smoking, most people probably won't film them. And I think there's that like almost content snobbery of like, yeah, you can't do that because you can't get a wide shot of the prep room because it's looking messy, so everything's just like close-ups of makeup being done, or I can't, and there's a lot of things that we kind of like set those restrictions to ourselves to try and make this polished looking gallery or film. And I think as that's happened, obviously the prices for us have risen as well, so it's created this gap then for content creators to come in and do something that's so much more natural, I guess. I would consider it anyway, and I would hope that this is what they're capturing, but more natural thing, just like, the prep room's messy, so what, I'm just going to get a shot of everyone having fun.
And again, I must admit, and there are photographers out there that I, again, maybe being more documentary kind of, I find that I do sometimes photograph the mess as well, but I still make sure I get the tight shot as well.
Yeah.
And I know which one that I'd probably post because I feel the pressure to post the clean one, but they have both for their gallery. And if they choose to then use them, that's up to them. Or I know there's lots of kind of real hard documentary photographers that really would embrace the mess, which I always kind of find. If you can find like a pocket or some, a bride kind of getting this really beautiful dress amongst the kind of cloud of rubbish,
Yeah.
there's something quite beautiful in that.
Yeah, yeah.
But at the same time, I think because you see such little of it online, or particularly in the mainstream wedding world, a lot of those really documentary photographers that kind of lean into that stuff aren't in the conversation. Like you say,
Yeah,
that's why
yeah,
the
true.
content has risen,
Yeah,
is
yeah.
because couples do want both, but they want to hire someone different for it. It's like, you can do the nice stuff and you can do this, because then probably the couples that book the photographers that do show the mess and the rest of it probably wouldn't have a content creator.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
It's a
Yeah,
weird balance,
yeah.
isn't it, to have? Or I think again it says because weddings take in all couples of all preferences, some are always going to want the best of both worlds. Some are quite happy to just have the chaos, and some won't want any of it, and they still expect their content creator to only photograph clean spaces
Yeah.
and
Yeah, true. Yeah.
me when I'm looking at my best and the rest of it.
And it's interesting how it'll be interesting to see in the future how different styles of photography and videography attract like work with different content creators,
Yeah.
because I feel like I've worked with less than most people or most of my peers in the industry. I'm not really sure why that is, but I feel like when I look at your work, I don't feel like your couples would necessarily, because like we were talking about earlier, your couples aren't looking for give me everything.
Or really overly polished stuff. But then maybe I think you sit on that fence quite nicely in that some of that, particularly now you've gained the camcorder this year, that gives a content element to your films.
Yeah.
But because your films have always been very moment led or fun led, when you've got those bits of the bridesmaids singing Grease to the Bride, or they've got them doing that, your films don't solely embrace perfection. They look good, but you've always led your marketing with, my couples need to be comfortable being themselves, or not afraid to laugh at themselves. And I think mainly the people that are working with a lot of them are maybe people that are making these more editorial films, or the films that are to the slower music, and they almost want this really kind of beautiful thing, but they still want the real moments as well, because the film that they're getting is so far from like the real reality of, they feel and again it's became memes over time now of Insta versus reality, and maybe because my photo and your film sort of blurs the line between the two at times, that real need to have content is less, because you're showing pieces of that in your film. It's
that's
not
a good
just
point.
all polished perfection.
That's I mean, like, it's exactly what you said. Like, I try and make it as candid as possible while still being. It's that perfect balance between candid and polished, which I try and hit. But
and I think at the moment, particularly in photography, I'm seeing, like we spoke about it off camera, is that I think almost editorial or pure editorial is already starting to fall out of favour, and there's a lot of photographers already now rechanging their wordings to documentary with an editorial vibe or with splashes of editorial, and it's still just like. It's basically it's just planned in an editorial. Even the stuff which is documentary is still being curated to look smooth and like people just lounging around. But you've had to place them all in that scene or in the right light, so it's not true, messy, honest documentary. So maybe that content is needed because that still isn't that, even though that it's claimed to be.
Yeah, it feels like the modern version of the home video. Really, isn't it? The content creation, which I quite like. And I've put in my notes I would have had it for my wedding.
I think you would, honestly. And I think of knowing you as a person, I think that you would love that. But again, from someone that has holidayed and stuff with you as well, like, and again, it's not a kind of attack on a character at all. You love a selfie somewhere, or if you go to a place, you're very much, let's get a selfie here, or let's get like the tourist photo, and a very much memory kind of focused in photo in that way. And so a content creator would be absolutely perfect for a wedding like yours, where I think for me, I'd be like, it's just someone else that wants to take that, and I wouldn't have had one. I might have put disposables on the tables because we did, but
that's good.
Or that idea of someone took something of me, but I don't think I would have wanted it enough to hire somebody to do it.
But we have a Dropbox folder where we got all of our guests as much as possible to upload their photos that they took from their phones and videos they took from their phones. And genuinely, like, obviously we have photos and we have videos, but like in terms of trying to remember the day in the most authentic way possible, I go through our guests' photos and videos, not more, but it makes me feel a different way to what the photos, the professional stuff does, because I know that's, while, the professionals were getting a nice shot of me and Kate in a field, like our guests were taking photos of each other and having fun on the bouncy castle and whatever it was. And that makes me feel something. And like, that's kind of, I guess that's why I'd get a content creator.
And I think that is probably the bigger takeaway from it, isn't it? Or seeing that, you saying that you can look back to your experience and that is the reason that you would have a content creator or why you do. a few years down the line, look at that stuff, because you still love the photos for the wall of you and Kate
Yeah.
in the field.
Yeah.
But there was still so much happening whilst you weren't there, or you feel that maybe in your gallery some of the story or the photos of everybody else maybe are
It's probably
missing.
more polished. The video is definitely more polished.
Or
So,
again, there's probably a lot more of, and even thinking back to my gallery, there's a lot more of me and Rowan in it than I probably want there to be.
yeah.
Like, I still wish there was more of my nan. I wish there was more of my dad than there were of me.
Yeah.
Because now
Yeah.
that they're not here, or they're the people that I love the most, I want to see them
That's what you wanna
enjoying
see.
the day that I created
Yeah.
as much as looking at the photo of me, getting married and going, oh, I really remember how I felt in that moment. Or it's really nice to have that kind of laugh when you remember what you said. But I want to see their reaction to that.
Yeah.
Like, I want to know, like, did they cry? Were they like welling up at that moment as well? And maybe that's the good thing that content does, isn't it? Is that, or maybe that's the lesson to be learned by me as a photographer, is that when you deliver that, or that gallery doesn't need to be as couple heavy. It maybe needs to be a lot more guest focused than we think it does.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And I think it definitely is plugging gaps. But I wonder how long it is before they sort of meet the same fate and content creation does get a bit more, because even now there's luxury content creators who literally they color grade, they edit, and it's like now we're back to video again. But
I feel like it naturally will find its place, because the people that are booking those people are, again, you'll get, like we were talking about earlier, this school of content creators who are actively seeking out couples who aren't having video, and they will sell their content on the perfect replacement for a videographer, and almost will be the videographer light version, the phone version of a videographer. Or then you will get these ones which are only being exclusively hired by planners to get the content the planner wants of the luxury wedding, or they're the content of the luxury wedding to fill in all the gaps that the video, because the couple were spending so much time doing the post stuff, they just need someone to just photograph what actually happened.
Yeah, and speed as well, isn't it? Speed of delivery.
Yes.
Like we're in a world where everything comes quickly. It's the Amazon Prime of wedding media, isn't it?
Because that moment is most special. I say it's not Ruby Duffers. It's most special the first time you see it back, isn't it? However you see it back, but it's still the most impactful the first time you see it. And I imagine it's the same as when you go to a cinema, isn't it? Or you see a band for the first time. That movie is still the best the first time that you see it, because you know when the jumps are coming, you know when the sad bits are coming.
Yeah.
And sometimes in the future you come back to it for those reasons, but you still remember the first time. How you felt the first time, don't you?
So I hate to blow our trumpet and call ourselves the main course, but it's having that Big Mac before the main course is going to ruin the main course. Yeah. Right? It's a weird analogy, but
it's true though, isn't it? But again, if someone is paying up bigger money than they are for a content creator for a videographer, in the same way that they would pay up to go to their Michelin star restaurant, you are giving them, I would say, a really heightened, elevated and luxury or experience of having a film. Like, their mates will film them on their phones all of the time.
Yeah.
So that content is at a level they expect.
Yeah.
Where I'd like to think that most couples won't hire a videographer again, maybe in their lives, or only at very big moments where they want to be filmed and, audio mic'd up to that level of quality. They probably won't again unless they're in that certain job. And so it is that. I think to liken yourself as a Michelin star kind of thing is that level of experience against what is the difference between the content creator holding their phone and just getting a bridesmaid to do it. Apart from having someone dedicated, I mean that the level of quality of footage.
Yeah. Yeah, because the fear is amongst videographers anyway, is that, hang on, they're just doing the same thing as us, but cheaper and on their phones, and like, what's going on?
And it depends what you want out of it, doesn't it? I think the very couples that are booking content creators clearly feel they are missing out on something, or they're not maybe as fussed about that super polished nature as you think they are. For them, it's just, I want it now.
Yeah.
And if maybe they sat and had a really honest thought about that, like you've said, by me having this light, quick phone version that I can bust out the next day, that's going to ruin my experience of the big film.
The film
when
that
it reveals.
comes, yeah.
I still don't know whether that would stop them getting it. There's still that kind of, in the society that we live now, where you can have everything now.
That's the same. I've said this, but I would still get one, and I'd still appreciate the stuff. But I do think if you got photo, video, and content, getting that content early is probably gonna spoil the experience of photo.
Yeah.
And when you get you get your photo gallery back,
Yeah.
imagine you have this amazing sunset, and then the first thing you see of it is a phone photo the next day on your Dropbox. But then the photographer delivers like an incredible image. I know that sunset's not everything, but
Yeah,
like
but I
this
know
is
it
just
was an
something that blows
example
you
though, isn't
away.
it?
Or
Yeah.
yeah. Or again, like a reaction, or let's say you're walking down the aisle and your groom is like wiping a tear away from his face. That photographer's photo is a document going to be a documentary
Yeah.
masterpiece. But the first thing you're going to see from it is a phone
But
photo
also,
from the
and
front
I
of the
haven't
aisle.
had this yet, and I'm sure it could happen with video, is that do you think the other thing that's going to happen though is that then it almost puts pressure on the photo and the video to have that? Do you know what I mean? Like if a content creator can literally be like panning there, okay, I've got the groom pan round for the bride,
Yeah.
and I need to make sure I'm in my space, I'm locked off on my shot, and the rest of it. That if they see, oh, the groom was crying, but I didn't get it because I'm focused on the bridesmaids coming down the aisle, the bride, that would be, oh, well, we know that the content creator got a really lovely
Yeah.
moment of him like wiping, like I really wanted, I was really expecting to see that in my gallery.
Yeah.
Why isn't it there?
Yeah, never really thought about
Does
that.
it make you turn around and go, well, I didn't get it?
Yeah.
Because I was worried about you coming down the aisle instead. Or again, as maybe someone that works solo, I can only ever be in one place at once. So that by a certain law of averages, there's always going to be stuff that I miss
Yeah.
and stuff that maybe the content creator does get.
Yeah.
And I know that's just life, but that and most couples will appreciate that and know that you can't be everywhere at once. But maybe if you come from that angle of, well, the reason that I got a content creator is because I want everything.
Yeah, and there's more in between bits that
Or the other way. You go, oh, well, I saw you in the footage. I saw you like taking this photo in the BTS,
Yeah.
but that photo wasn't in our gallery, and it might just be that it wasn't a great photo, or it doesn't go with whatever, and you just didn't include it. Are you going to start to get that? Well, we saw you you were there at that moment doing that. So like,
Yeah.
where's the photo from it?
Yeah.
Like, are you going to start to get that
Yeah,
almost because you're
maybe.
like they're almost providing evidence for you to be checked up on as well, and that's something I never really considered.
Yeah. But at the same time, like you stay in your lane and do your thing, right? You're not trying to be. There's a story I heard
I'm
once.
not trying to be a content creator.
Yeah.
I'm at your wedding to provide an honest document, but also, and then maybe this sounds really pretentious, create beautiful art for you. So that some of them are very much honest, but still something which is elevated from me just running around spamming the button on my phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But video wise, think about this, right? Whether I'm solo or as a pair on a day, or as two videographers, once the bride's in a dress, I'm gone.
Yeah.
I'll maybe get a portrait in front of the window, then I'm gone. The content creator, at least the ones I've worked with, have then stayed with the bride. Like maybe they'll go and do their registrar appointment, but then they'll come back and the content creator will be with the bride as they're like doing those last seconds.
Or with the
like,
bridesmaids
maybe
while they're waiting outside the registrar's appointment.
and like capturing all of that bit, which videographers for the most part won't be capturing because, you know, even to an extent, I don't know how most people do it, but I've second shot for people who have done the same thing. Like once the bride's in the dress, it's fair game to then go to ceremony and only set up for the ceremony. So if there's a nice staircase and the bride's walking down with her dad, whatever it is, then the videographer's not getting that.
Yeah, unless it's been like kind of been primed to you by the couple or whatever. This isn't a moment which is really important to me, or this venue has this incredible staircase.
Yeah.
I would love that shot. You don't get it.
Yeah, because I say to them, right, once you're in your dress, I need to set up for the ceremony. I'm not, and then they're like, some of them are like, oh yeah, we'd really like us coming out of the room and walking towards the ceremony area, and I just say no because I'm going to be at the ceremony filming you come
know
down
what?
the
I feel
aisle.
that moment there, for literally that moment, is the only reason that I would want a second.
A second, yeah.
Like there's like when I went to see John Dolan speak a couple of years ago, and he has this motto, and again, most of the time for the weddings that he works on, is his motto for all weddings is never leave the bride.
Yeah.
So much as his moments, he will stay with the bride.
Okay.
He will not leave the bride. So that he is there for that.
Yeah.
Once the video call, everyone else has gone.
Yeah.
That literal moment before the door bursts open and she walks down the aisle.
That's someone who needs a second, I reckon.
He is there behind that door. But often,
Yeah.
again, he is not the only photographer on a day.
Yeah.
He's been entrusted to make that art, that shot that not everybody else gets.
Yeah.
But he knows that he can stand behind the door, taking the picture of the bride with her dad in that literal where she takes that last deep breath before she walks into the room.
Yeah.
Because there's somebody at the top of the aisle taking the safe shot of her walking in for him or someone else somewhere else. But like you say, most people don't get that, do they?
No.
For me, that's the only time sometimes when I think I'm going to leave this house now and get over to the ceremony, and capturing the groom looking nervous and stuff and guests arriving at the venue and that stuff is important, but I still know there's going to be some real like nervy kind of gold
Yeah.
in that house once I leave.
Yeah.
And that's the stuff.
That's the
And
stuff
maybe
that's
I
like-
long for it because I don't have it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Or
yeah.
that
Yeah.
possibility of
It
what
might not
might
be.
happen
Yeah, yeah.
is always kind of much more elevated.
Yeah.
Because I know that I'm not there.
Sometimes you think there's so much that happens in that 10, 15-minute period when you're not there.
And the reality of some of it is probably just the bride going, oh crap, I still need to wee before I leave. I put my dress on now. Or something else happens, or they're making sure the cat's fed and they're locking the door if they're leaving home, or it's literally like they're strapping tags to their luggage because the people at the hotel need to move rooms of it or something.
Yeah.
It probably could be boring, but you always think, well, there could be something there.
It could be
'cause I'm not
something.
there.
Yeah.
And
Sometimes
maybe
they have
that's
a shot or
the
something
brilliance
together.
of content all told.
Yeah.
Is that well, what could have happened isn't there because there's always someone there to capture it.
Exactly, yeah. So what's the problem then? Like, why is it such a hot topic? At least from some of the things I've been seeing, I've written down some of the potential frustrations that people are having, just to air them really. And obviously there's going to be ones that aren't as valid, I guess, but it's important to have like a conversation about why people are a little bit bothered. I think the first thing is the barrier of entry for content creators is a lot lower.
Yes.
And I think it's anyone can pick up an iPhone and record something. That's a given. Most people can do that. And because that barrier of entry is lower, people may be working with content creators that are a little bit inexperienced.
Yeah.
And obviously there are going to be some that know wedding etiquette and know how to work with photographers and videographers and that kind of thing. But more often than not, because of how relatively easy it is to get into, there's probably people working with people who haven't been to that many weddings and don't know the etiquette and don't respect like the other suppliers and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and even people and we're only talking obviously in the context of this podcast, there's people that have set themselves up in business to be a content creator. But I know for a fact there are venues out there which are offering content creation packages, add-ons now, and it is almost just the iPhone in the wedding coordinator's hand to get more money from that booking. Or I also know there's probably photographers out there or videographers that have got partners that would normally just be sat at home on a wedding and go, oh, I can make 500 quid just to bring my wife along to take some photos on her phone.
Yeah.
And are doing that, where that person may not have, where before you might go, I don't really want a second shoot for me because they're not proficient enough with the camera. But if it's just what they film a dog on their iPhone all the time, so why not bring them along to a wedding and make money out of it?
Yeah.
There are people doing that as well. So like you say, that because the tech is seen more every day, the barrier for entry is a lot lower. Or the people that think, oh, I could become a content creator.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, I did it anyway. When I was a bridesmaid for my mate 2 years ago, I just took loads of videos for her and made it into a reel. Like, why wouldn't I just do that?
Yeah, and I feel the same. Like, it's not content creation. Like, there are times when I've seen photographers, not necessarily ones that I work with, but sometimes you'll see photographers and you'll be like, you're in it because you picked up a camera, and you think you can now take like.
I've seen it for second shooters before, or quite obviously when you've seen people like put stuff up and you go. And you know that like that second shooter's not a photographer.
Yeah.
It's just their current girlfriend.
Or
like someone they've brought in and go, I need you to man a camera for a few
You've
little
got
bits.
a camera, yeah.
Like you're around, you're free, it's easy. Like just do this.
I'm really interested in what you think of the next one, because obviously I don't think I've heard your opinion on this. A lot of photographers say to me, because I only really work with photographers, obviously I don't work with as many videographers, say to me, I just can't get over the fact that I'm out there posing the couple and the content creator is over my shoulder getting all of the beautiful poses and areas and lights that I've put together, and then we'll send it to the couple next day, and that's my art that I'm creating and my poses and everything, and they're just sending it to the couple next day and getting all the credit for it.
I think if you're as naive or butthurt, I guess is probably the right word about that as it is, then you've just got far bigger problems.
Okay, yeah,
that's it. You didn't create the light. If I knew that there was a way that I could shake my hands in the air and summon sunsets, then maybe I'm doing
but you get
wrong.
what I'm saying, right? If it was...
I do, yeah. Or there's a very different to going, this is the best spot to take a couple to, or this is a bad one.
Yeah.
But then you've always got that. I've had times where I've had guests follow me out to couple shoots in the past and go, and then even sarcastic on the way back go, my photo looks great.
Yeah.
And it's like, and you go, yeah, it looks great because, or even I've taken photos of guests on their phones.
Yeah.
And they go, well, why does yours look so much better than mine? And it's like, because I've taken it, without sounding like a dick.
Yeah.
And so there's always going to be that degree of whatever, but then at the same time I feel like there's photographers like that start in the industry and they like, auto is great until it's not. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where on a certain day in the right light in the right place you can have a camera on literally auto and spray and pray and there'll still be a good photo in there.
Yeah.
So personally, I don't agree with that. That I'm sure it's the same thing that photographers have said about videographers in the past.
I was going
Oh
to
well,
say
I
this,
set
yeah,
them up and then they
yeah,
just steal my ideas. Personally, from someone that doesn't really pose people, I don't really be bothered.
yeah,
Like my goal is to make that couple feel as comfortable as they are, or encourage them to move through, or have some time alone. And what they do is down to them.
yeah,
And I even maybe because the idea of being humble is just easier because I'm polite and British. But when you get couples that go, "Oh, you're amazing, you did us this," it's like it's a team. You're in the photos.
yeah,
Like if I
yeah,
hired a model, it's as much on them as it is you. You are my subject.
yeah,
The fact that I've made you feel that comfortable to do that is one thing, but you've still had to move in that way or
yeah. We're
do.
just vibe off each other or
Yeah,
whatever.
exactly. The
Yeah,
whole thing is a collaborative effort, and I
yeah,
like to think that even that content creator being there, or or something, there's still more to it than them literally just hand stuck their phone over your shoulder
yeah,
and done it. But then I'm someone that, because I've come from a live music background, that always deliver previews, and I have for most of my career.
yeah.
Always delivered stuff the day after or a couple of days after. So
You're not getting outshined.
but at the same time, when
Yeah,
that iPhoto lands, either before it's even got there or within the hour, my one's come, and I like to think that hopefully it's better.
yeah, yeah. And that's the one they're going to be waiting for because they're expecting your previews
Yeah,
anyway. I've always wondered, like I always say that exact same thing back to the photographer is, have you not thought that thing about videographers for a while? Because
yeah,
we're like a lot of videographers are basically doing the same, like piggybacking off the photographer's shots. And I've even had some photographers who were literally, I'll be like, oh, can I just quickly get that detail shot that you've set up? And they'll be like, yeah, okay. And then they'll just take everything apart and give it all to me. It's
yeah,
like, oh, okay.
yeah.
And then they won't. They
And
just,
that's just, for me, that's just
like,
been a dick.
but then when
It's like,
if
yeah,
I like, I've learned from second shooting a little bit over the last couple of weeks that I probably pose or do I get involved in the couple shoot probably more so
you
than
thought
at least the videographers, yeah, than I
okay,
thought I did.
yeah,
And it doesn't once cross my mind
yeah.
about oh, but the photographer's getting this as well, and they're going to
But for
post it
me,
in their
I was
previews.
again, and it's I think it's always like again, I find it really hard to say this without sounding like, oh, I do it this way because it makes me like a better human. Is that the thought my thought process on a wedding day is always the couple.
Yeah,
So I find it really odd, or I would find it really jarring if I was a couple that had photo, video, content. You would like to think, or I'm Mr. Photographer that goes, I've created this amazing moment. It's not your moment. You've had that amazing moment for the couple.
yeah,
And if
yeah.
that moment was just in your photo, and then the videographer had to make a different moment,
And then the
it
content
doesn't play
creator,
out, and then the
yeah,
content creator make a different moment again. Everything just feels really disjointed.
yeah, yeah,
Where for me, I know even when I've asked you if we've worked together, I've seen your film, or then you've seen my photo. You go, oh, I've got a really cool bit from that same moment,
yeah,
and it's the couple remember the moment. And your photo is different because it doesn't move to the video, but it's still of the same moment.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? And so it's like, just give them 10 great moments in their day that they've got on photo, video, and content, then make everybody do everything individually.
yeah,
Like if I set up like all of the details in amazing light and then shot pictures of it, and then they go when the film comes back, well, that's completely different to the photo.
yeah,
It just looks weird, doesn't it? Or then there's a natural comparison to be made as to which one do we like more? Do we like the way they've done it, or do we like the way they've done it? And it's like, well, if it just looks the same, one's just video and one's photo, it makes the continuity of all of the content that they have from their wedding look the same.
look the same, yeah, and have the
Or
same feel to
consistent.
it, yeah,
That's for me anyway. It looks consistent then across, not like, oh, well, here are my shoes on the windowsill with my flowers, but the other photographer took them outside and laid them out on this,
yeah.
because it just feels different, and then you do naturally kind of start to draw comparison. So that's my take on it. Is that I don't, yeah.
So what happens when you're probably the wrong person to ask about this because you're pretty sure about this stuff, but what happens when, say, let's say you work with just a content creator, no videographer, and then on the couple shoot, the content creator goes, I want to get involved and direct.
That happened on my first
Did
time.
it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So we went out first time. It was super chill. When we went out for the sunset, I was literally, again, the light was coming down, so I did maybe a couple more, say like, what's the right word? Non-movement, like still kind of poses. If poses as a stretch, there was like a really cool lake. The sun
ones that
was
go in
coming
the frame.
down, so it was more or
Yeah.
less like, this is a really cool sunset. I'm going to lay your dress out, literally, just have a little cuddle and look out and take
Okay,
in
yeah,
the view.
yeah, yeah.
So I snapped some photos. Obviously, for him, once you've got a pan of that, that's it, pretty
yeah.
much. So I then did a walking shot out into the sunset. And then I did some wide stuff, some tight stuff, and was like, well, I've got enough of what I need.
Yeah.
So he was like, okay, well, I really feel like I want this. And then it started to go, there was like a building on the way back.
Yeah.
Oh well, I want like the groom you to lean against that, and then like her to walk in and almost like do, and like much more like when I've worked with some videographers and they've almost wanted, I call it role playing, and it's not, but like almost they're kind of going, I want you to do this and almost act something out for
Yeah.
this scene, and he did that, and I was like, I don't need it. So our roles almost flipped,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I took a couple of photos with him in it
Okay.
of
Yeah.
him making this moment. You can see him with his brand on his back and his little gimbal. Because for me, I'm always providing the gallery for the couple to remember their day by.
Mm-hmm.
So if they remember being made to act out this thing, I'd like to think there's a photo of them doing it, so it kind of illustrates the point.
It's kind of nice. Yeah.
There was a bit in the morning where they wanted a couple of TikToks, so he was getting like the bridesmaids to like walk along, and on the beat they would jump and like clap, and then would do the same again in the thing. So I've got photos of him like running backwards with his gimbal, and then them just as they're clapping and stuff, because it was an event that happened in the morning.
Yeah.
And I'm documenting what happened.
Yeah.
So yeah, that, and it'd be the same if I was doing it with video. I maybe wouldn't feel the need to include the videographer in it if it was video.
That's it, because it's a bit more polished.
But with the content creator, I did.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the difference. But as a whole, I'm really not bothered. My job is they've paid me to document their wedding day, and that's where it ends. I don't seem to claim like intellectual ownership over certain layouts or certain poses or whatever. I don't see it like that.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And I've definitely seen the opposite before. I don't know whether this is their opinion or whether they were just into it, but I've definitely worked with a content creator and a photographer, and the photographer's been honed in on just like directing the couple shoot. Do this, change this, move this, now do this, and you know, and very much like stationary, look at the camera shots. And the content creator was over there like coming over to me like, I think we need some movement. And I was like, yeah, that sounds great. And she would step in. So she stepped in to try and get some like movement and stuff, and the photographers weren't having any of it. And I wonder if that's because she had the phone in the hand and not like a camera sort of thing.
But maybe it's interesting as well in the fact that obviously because they're capturing both, they think of things maybe as that more movement style. So if anything, you and the video and the content creator should almost kind of be in a much more of a similar camp when it comes to that. Because particularly a lot of the reels or the highlight videos that I've seen from content creators are still very much, because they take so many clips on the day, do chop fairly quickly. Look, nothing's on the screen for much more than sort of 3 or 4 seconds at most.
Yeah.
So you need some sort of movement, don't you? Whether the content creator is kind of panning and moving or the couple are moving to make that happen. So if it was really, really just rigid poses, it wouldn't make for great content at all.
No, yeah. And if anything, I just thought about this, isn't it not a little bit of, you were saying about how it's like more pressure than to probably get some shots that they got. Is it not like the opposite? Does it not give you a bit of freedom? There's something about, so there was a content creator I worked with when I was solo in May. I was shooting solo, and there was something freeing about knowing that, oh, she's got like loads of footage of this wedding breakfast room. I can just go out and get some candids.
I think it is. And like we said about it in the past, haven't we? About, or we spoke about at the start of this episode, sometimes I will shoot a day slightly differently if I know there's a videographer, because there's certain things that I know will be key in their film.
Yeah.
So you feel like, I find, particularly during speeches, the best shot is never the speaker, but you still need a good half a dozen shots of that person speaking or holding a microphone or looking at their phone or whatever. But the gold is always in the couple's reaction or the people's reactions in the room. But I always need to make sure that I always kind of get some photos of that speaker from normally a couple of different places in the room to see normally a wide, to see the context of everyone kind of looking at them or if they're in good light. But if I know that those speeches are being filmed, you've got a hard cam locked off on that guy doing his whole speech.
Yeah.
So they need less visual evidence that person stood up and spoke.
Yeah.
And I can be literally, I've got a shot of him now, it's fine.
Yeah.
I'm into reactions, because probably as a video, you're not getting that.
Yeah.
You might have a cam locked off on the couple for their reaction and one of the speaker, but you've not got someone roving around diving into individual laughs or cries or whatever.
If I'm solo,
yeah. So it means that I've got space to do that. So yeah, if anything, it should be freeing.
Yeah.
Or also,
kind of is.
Even if I've had videographers or content creators that do want to pose them, it's made me realise how much I don't like posing people. And I find it even better then that I could just turn up and go, well, they can just do their thing and I'll just document.
Yeah. I was thinking that's why content creator is actually quite good for video, because it's quite nice to have someone to be like, oh, let's get some video stuff, and like, you're kind of bouncing ideas off of each other, especially when you've got a photographer that's a bit more, stationary or that kind of thing. So,
and again, I'll tell you what, in those instances, I found it great because it almost allowed me to be creative in other ways without my creativity being imposing the couple.
Yeah.
If that's what they wanted.
Yeah.
Or if you get a couple where I don't maybe offer loads of posing, like advice, stand there, do this, do that. If you get a couple that are kind of like, oh, what do we do? like sometimes I can find them because I'm like, oh shit, I need to kind of. They're looking for direction,
Yeah.
which is not something which I like. I like to kind of give or to pose
Yeah.
to have someone else there to go. Oh, how about we do this?
Yeah.
That's kind of nice then to have that. Or I'm not trying to be the sole energy bringer or coming up with loads of ideas or finding ways that will be flattering to them but inject energy into them. You've almost
Yeah.
got an ally in that
Yeah.
rather than literally be the three of you out on a shoot and they're looking at you going, so what do we do? Make us look good.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's just we'll be
And
happy
you feel the
to
pressure
be
then
happy to be with each other,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
whatever. And then like,
Yeah.
what do we do?
Yeah, the whole what do we do thing
Yeah.
is like there's been plenty of times where you get a couple. I don't know if you've had this, but like you get couples who you'll tell them, just embrace and have a chat
Yeah.
and that kind of thing, and then they'll turn around, they'll hug each other, they'll go hi, kiss, and then they'll just stare at you and go, what next?
Yeah.
Like, hang on, just why can't you just enjoy each other?
Yeah.
Like, and they always just turn around and look at you and go, was that all right? It's like,
Yeah.
It's not was that all right?
Yeah.
It's you.
It's like it's that idea of bringing them away to have a moment. It's not to come out and do lots of poses for us. And maybe that's their
Maybe it is for a
perception
lot
of
of
how
people,
it is.
but
Maybe it is, or maybe that's why they think like that.
Or maybe that's because of what we show on Instagram.
Yeah, and maybe
That's
again,
it.
so it goes to a much bigger problem, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, as a thing, I think in some ways, in those moments, it's probably nice to have someone to bounce off of, or know that there's going to be more content as well than just you relying on all of that. Like
Yeah.
I say, rather,
Yeah,
it's quite a nice spin on
definitely.
it, isn't it? It's making
Yeah.
it freeing rather than them stealing your
Yeah,
super
yeah.
unique ideas.
And I like that idea, and I like that we were, I was chatting to this content creator while we are doing this couple shoot, and I was like, yeah, we do need more movement. Should we do
Yeah.
this and that kind of thing? And eventually, like, we got them to do some walking stuff, and it was quite hard with how, like I've mentioned it before, but intense these particular photographers were in terms of like they would not stop posing. Like it was constantly like move hand, do this, look at camera, look back at each other. It's like, whoa, it's
Sounds
just so
exhausting.
much. Yeah, it's just
for the couple as
it
well.
was too much. Yeah.
Like,
But yeah, that's just how it was. But yeah, on the other hand, like the highlights film, this is probably the biggest issue that gets pointed out, I think, is that whole teaser or highlights film that gets posted the day after. It's one thing said like putting all these things in a Dropbox and sending uncut footage, but having this teaser and highlight film that goes out, surely there's no way that doesn't ruin the film in some way. And obviously, like as a videographer, your film should be better. Your film should be better than this, right? So as a piece that lasts a long time, and something they're gonna be watching back in 20 years, your film should be the thing they're watching, not this reel that got posted onto Instagram.
But again, I think, and this kind of, even while we're having this conversation, this harks back to something that I think which was the conclusion that we came to in our holiday cameras episode.
Okay.
There are some things that you just need to take on your phone, and there's
Yeah.
some things that are worth getting the camera out for.
Yeah.
And if you've got these people at play, which some of them are literally, oh, you're the iPhone person, you'll do for this. Or no, this bit needs to wait for the videographer because this is going to be important.
Yeah.
Are the same thing? I think, anyway,
Yeah.
there's, like, if I wanted a film to post the next day, I would get a content creator.
Yeah.
Because their film
Yeah.
has been filmed vertically
Yeah.
with the sole reason to make you look good on socials. And if that's
Yeah.
what you
True.
want,
Yeah.
then why would I want to post the videographer's one that I'm going to have to twist to the side to watch sideways on my phone in letterbox format and make sure I've got the volume on so that the beautiful like music's there and the audio. Where if I literally am hungover the next morning on the way home from a wedding and just want to see my mate's footage,
Yeah.
I could literally be sat on the train or in the passenger seat of my car and have this really kind of fast thing which has been filmed on a phone.
Yeah.
It's horses for courses,
Yeah.
isn't it? Like, you don't I would assume you don't want your couples to view their film on their phone, sat next to each other on the settee. You want them to watch it on a
Yeah.
big screen and then make it an experience.
Yeah.
No one's going to get their content creation highlight film, well, I don't think they would, and put it on the
on their
screen and make popcorn.
TV and try and turn it to the side.
Because
Yeah.
it's not for
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Like, although they are of the same thing, they are to be consumed in very different ways.
They are,
And the
yeah.
same with the photo and that. I want my couples to yes, probably one will become the lock screen on their phone. Yes, they'll probably post some to socials. But I want them to make a book of that stuff.
Yeah.
I want them to print that
Frame
stuff
it.
and put it on their walls. I
Yeah.
want that to be wrapped up and given to Nan at Christmas and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Where I'd like to think that they're not going to print off, like a still from the video or an iPhone photo when there is a duplicate or a similar version of that in my gallery to give.
So is it a vanity thing then of like, I want the couple to react to my film in a certain way, but because they've already seen video footage of dad coming in or video footage of the groom's reaction when she walked down the aisle, once you deliver that film, you're not going to get the same reaction you would have before
Yeah.
because they've seen it all before.
I think
Does
so.
that make
I think
sense?
so. Yeah. I think
In a
some of
way,
it is
it's
a
a vanity
vanity
thing, but
because it
also,
almost takes the shift from that's filmed really beautiful to they did that for me. So they equate
yeah,
seeing that and that experience to you as a person, where they might do if they've already seen it, it's not the same. It's just that looks really different, or that looks much better, or it's
yeah,
different. I mean, it's maybe it is. And again, or I like to think that a lot of the reason that I deliver stuff instantly to my couple is because I know they probably want to post on socials. Or you
yeah,
hear the
yeah,
registrar say the couple have asked you not to post until they have, and
yeah.
I know they'd much rather post something with mine
Mm.
than something that their friend has texted them. I would like to think that maybe that's why now a lot of videographers are offering teasers and trying to get that stuff
Yeah,
out
yeah,
quickly
yeah,
so they can beat the content person to the punch. Or if the couple are going, we really want something to show, that's why you guys are actively chopping your footage to vertical to make a teaser, or you're shooting stuff on your phones, is to bridge that gap, to get that instantaneous hit of dopamine and likes and the
yeah.
rest of it.
I've made a conscious effort this year to. I mean, I don't really offer teasers like within a week of
Yeah.
the wedding. I've been doing it for a few weddings if it's particularly like I'm quite excited to edit it or
But if
whatever.
you know, if that goes up the next day after the wedding and the couple
Yeah,
and the venue collaborate on you,
yeah,
that is going to do a hell of a lot more for your marketing
yeah, 100%.
than if it comes in 3 months' time.
Like I say, I don't offer teasers, but the teasers has been my sole form of marketing this year, and they've
Yeah.
done really, really well. Like we say, with collaborations with couples and venues and that kind of thing. So I should do them for all weddings, but I don't like to promise it to couples because sometimes I might not want to do it. But at the same time, the couple of times where I've worked with content creators this year, I've made a conscious effort to do those teasers the day after the wedding.
You felt that pressure too.
Yeah,
But I think I'm really interested to see, and even this is a thought that's only just come into my head now, is that you'd think the sheer volume of content that content creators are making on a day is, apart from those finished highlight films, they can't be keeping all that stuff. Like a phone's
yeah,
only got so much memory. They
yeah.
must literally just be going all of that into a Dropbox. Okay, let's clear the camera roll, and we're off to the next wedding.
I don't know. My phone's got everything on it because it's the iCloud thing, isn't it? That everyone's
That's
got.
right. Yeah, but again, maybe that's where I would go. Do I really want to keep 200 video clips from that wedding
yeah,
and that many photos? So when it comes to then going back, once they've stopped shooting weddings and they've got the off season to kind of go, we're still
we're talking about
posting
okay.
stuff.
So yeah,
Yeah, like it's like, are they going to have that archive to dig back into?
yeah.
To go, oh, well, I need to make this, or let's
rehash
do
some
in the
content.
same way that I might
Yeah.
go, oh, I'm going to do memories of 2025. Here are my favorite like guest portraits, or here's some of my confettis, or you almost do those kind of things when you've got a good bank of content behind you,
Yeah,
which is still really good for marketing. Like, it'd be interesting to know how content creators work in
They do
that
that.
aspect.
Yeah, it would be,
Is that
yeah.
because they are almost, their sole job is to make disposable content.
yeah.
Like, is their content just a gap until we deliver? Or is it something which
Is it
people are
timeless?
keeping and stuff? Or like you
Yeah.
say, but we won't know until it is 5 years down the line.
Yeah,
Or even like you were saying, well, I actually go back and look through my the
yeah,
stuff that people sent us more than my own gallery.
yeah,
And maybe that is some of the problem, is at the moment it is just too new
yeah.
for us to know.
For someone 5 years down the line
Yeah.
to be like, oh yeah, we look at our content creation every anniversary
Yeah.
or whatever, and
Yeah.
that's when it starts to solidify itself as something that people actually.
Because if you
use
look at kind of cost to reward, people will say will pay a few £100s for a cake, which half of it will probably go in the bin at the end of their wedding day. And
Yeah.
they go, well, it was just a cost for the wedding, wasn't it? We needed it.
yeah,
Where maybe they would see that, oh yeah, £800 for a content creator. If they can get me a nice highlight film within a week, I'll say that's worth it. If I can dine out on all that stuff until my photo and video deliver, it was worth it.
yeah, yeah, agreed.
Maybe that's just. But then say in 5, remember people now, people that have gone through that journey, and like you say, will go, well, actually, we sit down and pull
Look
that
at
folder open,
yeah.
we plug the USB in and dive back into all of our content on our anniversary, rather than sit and look through 800 photos of our gallery.
I think it'd be better in a gallery.
That's the proof of the pudding.
I don't know if
isn't it?
content creators do this, but like now pick time off for photo and video. Surely that'd be well nice to flick through all of that in that kind of.
Maybe that's
in
it.
some
Maybe that's
sort
like
of
maybe it's like
gallery
in the
format.
party. You've got VidFlow doing stuff for videographers. You've got pick time and shoot with that for that.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to come up with a
Content gallery.
content creation like delivery
Yeah.
system.
Yeah, it's something I thought about, but it's just
Primarily made
so-
to be viewed on phones, and
that'd be well cool, wouldn't it? So I think part of the problem is photographers and videographers too. Let's be honest. Like when I started when I went full time in 2017, there was still so much hostility from photographers.
Yeah.
Like I would turn up and literally people would say to me, "So you're going to stand behind me?"
Yeah.
Or you're the videographer. Okay, so as long as you're out of my shots, I don't mind that you're here. And it's like, Jesus. And that was a very much just a normal thing
Yeah.
that I would rock up. And I thought that was going to be it from then onwards. Yeah, even during the couple shoot, if I said anything, it would be like, oh, here we go, like sort of
Yeah.
thing. And that's changed massively, and we rarely get that now. It's so
But it
rare.
does still happen at
But
times.
how comes
Yeah.
now videographers are passing that
Yeah.
on to content creators?
Because it's almost, again, well, I had to go through this on my when I started, so you have to do it.
Or maybe they didn't.
I don't work on that analogy,
Yeah.
like, just because I had to kind of earn my stripes. You need to, but yeah, I think it's that thing, or it's history's repeating itself because of the same thing. At the time, you've come from a fact where you've always had to work with a photographer,
Yeah.
or I've had to not always sometimes work with a videographer. But now it's like, oh, there's now two of you, or there's now more of you to work with, and it's new at the moment. And I'm sure within a year or three, if content creators don't go away and they are something which become more and more at weddings, is that in the end people will just accept that that's just something which is
It's just
there
something,
now.
yeah, exactly.
And you'd like to think that animosity in the end will ebb away, or maybe it'll ebb away quicker if that content creator can turn around like you said and go, oh, here you are. And the next day I've delivered it to the couple now. Here's all the BTS that I got of you as well. Going crazy.
Yeah.
I'm like, brilliant.
That's lush.
That means that I haven't got to make my own content now on the day. I haven't got to deal with that stuff.
Yeah.
I can literally just turn up and do my job, and the couple have paid someone, which is also going to give me 20 clips of me doing my
Just
job.
like we said in the content problem episode,
Yeah.
didn't we? We were like, content creators might be the answer to
Yeah.
this, to the suppliers having to bring their own
Definitely.
phones and
And
whatever.
if they're as willing to be that nice, I would like to think they're only willing to be that nice if you haven't been a dick to them all day,
Yeah.
and then you will stand behind me, you will be quiet, you will not get in my way. I would send someone content if they spoke to me like that.
Yeah, I know.
But if you did just turn up and had a nice day with them, they go, actually, I've got this really cool piece of footage of you. I think you'd appreciate it. Why not?
Yeah.
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 But I think that's some of it. I think in the end
It's
is
part of it, isn't it? Yeah.
but I guarantee it's those same photographers and videographers that are the people that are like, well, they're just leaning over my shoulder and taking my creations.
Yeah.
Are the same people that are
Or those that are struggling with their own bookings.
yeah.
And
But
they're feeling a
don't you
bit-
think that's where it all comes from?
Yeah.
Is that they're not confident in their own ability
Yeah,
to be
yeah.
booked, or they see that person is taking their job rather than going, I'm good. I do what I do. If people like it, they will pay for it. There's value in it. Like, it's going to take more than someone with an iPhone and half an idea to be able to give
Make the quality of
to
work
make the
that I'm
couple
giving.
feel that I have,
Yeah.
and to give them something of that quality.
Yeah.
And there's no way that we can say that without sounding like we're massive egomaniacs.
It's true.
But at the end of the day, we've both spent a long time refining what we do and learning new skills to be the best at our jobs that we can.
Yeah. Not just in the quality of work, but in how we
Yeah.
make the couple feel and how we deliver that. And yeah.
And I think once you get content creators with tenure as well, that's going to be the same thing.
Yeah.
And it might even be that you turn up on a day where you've got a content creator which has got far more of an idea than the photographer and the videographer.
Yeah.
And then that becomes an issue. If they can see that the couple aren't really posing them, do they step in then and do that? Because there's
I think so. Yeah.
yeah, I think they should do, or the photographer should, be aware of. Well, actually, if you can make this look better than I can,
Yeah.
crack on.
I think it's two things. I think it's people that think they have artistic control over a wedding. They think the wedding is their canvas
Yeah,
and not the couple's day.
yeah.
And so they're like, oh, there's someone else coming along and painting on my canvas.
Well, for that color scheme that you chose,
Yeah.
and that venue that you chose
Yeah,
for your couple to
literally.
get married
Yeah,
in,
yeah.
and all of that stuff. Like,
And the other thing is people maybe just struggling with bookings and thinking, I need someone to blame.
yeah.
Basically, because
It
there is a lot
but
of that in the
and at
groups.
the moment, I feel they are the perfect. Or even content as a thing is a perfect scapegoat, isn't it?
It
The same
is,
way
yeah.
that we've said in other episodes that group shots get a lot of hate from photographers, and blogging, it's cool to not blog for 2 years. I think at the moment, content is just one of those things, and I'm sure we said this in the content problem episode, that it's easy to hate on. Oh, I've got to do that damn BTS to be seen. Oh, if bookings don't improve soon, I'll be the one dancing on TikTok if that's what
Yeah.
the kids want these days.
Yeah.
And it's like you say, it almost, all these people coming along taking our jobs. It's like that's been a that's been a Neanderthal issue for a long time, isn't it? Is think that someone's going to come along and take your job for cheaper.
Yeah.
But I think you've summarised it up in here is that, as we start to move into kind of the end of this episode and how that we can tackle this or how the future looks like, is we just need to be better.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
If you want to compete, be better.
be better.
And something I've seen actually since writing these notes in a videography group is someone very rightly saying content creators not this is not to speak to for every photographer and videographer, but content creators are bloody good at marketing themselves.
Oh, they are.
Every time I open my phone, all the top stories are from people who are content creators that I followed because they're so good at socials and posting, and their marketing is on point. And there's still a lot of us who are just like, even me and you spoke to each other last night, and we're like, well, we're probably like falling behind on the marketing side of things at the moment, whereas they're showing up every day because their prime thing is social media, right? And that kind of thing.
And this is really interesting. This is going to flow into our afternoon's episode really, really nicely as well. So
Yeah.
the episode that we're going to record next, which you'll hear in a fortnight's time, is about, whilst that your editing is important, maybe there is a time at this time of year to stop editing and start marketing, so that you've got work for the future. And do you think, and again, I don't want to stand up on those Neanderthals now, that's obviously my job. Do you think that those content creators are so good at marketing because they just have time to?
Yeah, there is a bit of that.
If someone said to you, you're going to record, do the same hours on the day, you've got to make me one highlight film and just dump me the rest as raw footage in a Dropbox.
Yeah, I would have so much more time.
You would have so much more time to market because you're not spending a day picking music. You're not spending all of that time like going, kind of curating that timeline to building ceremony and speeches stuff. Like, for the most part, they give them a wedding jigsaw puzzle in all of their clips. Like, if I said to the couple, if I was a shoot and burn photographer, did no edit, if I had to come home from a wedding, cull it and deliver it. Straight away, unedited.
Then you could do double.
I would have a lot more time. I would happily, be able to almost be less.
Or just spend so much more time on marketing.
Or spend a lot more time marketing or being on socials. Which I know that there's a lot of R&D in there, is that if you're one of these content creators that is expected to turn out TikToks or real content, which is based on current trends, you need to spend a certain amount of time on that app knowing what the current trends are, what the trending audio is, because that way then it's more of a guarantee that your couple's video, which will do well, and if you are being hired more in a social media capacity than a cheaper alternative than a videographer capacity for content, then what the couple are looking out from that is different. But I think that is a lot of the reason, or I would say that's a lot of the reason that they're marketing more.
They've got time.
The work on the back end is a lot less.
I think they're more open to social media. There's a lot of us photo video people who are like, oh, I just hate the fact I have to keep posting on Instagram and do the stories and stuff like that, because like, as much as we talk about you have to do it and we have to, like, if there was a choice, I wouldn't do it. Probably. I think
there is. I think there is a choice. I think it would be harder.
But
there are photographers I know that don't post on social media from one year's end to the next and are still fully booked.
And my couples probably love social media.
You still need to make sure that your avenues of other ways of gaining inquiries are there. Or like you say, a lot of the couples that you say, or particularly when you're looking for those fun couples that want to do champagne sprays and throw each other in the air.
Why
else
should you do that other than?
Why would you? Why would you do that for you to watch yourself back on your sofa? It's so that it makes your day look fun. And a part of that is sharing it on social media, isn't it? So
exactly.
It is unfortunately a necessary evil. Or again, I'm not sure that there's lots of people that would even know what a content creator is if they weren't on social media.
I think as videographers we do need to up our game and turn things around as well, because as much as teasers are definitely becoming a thing, but now if you want to compete with, if you want to be the person who competes with content creators and you think that they're delivering their stuff before me, then get a teaser out early, basically.
But I think that's your two choices, isn't it? And I don't want this to sound really hard. You either compete, or what I would say, sink to their level, or you rise above it. And you almost say, well, what is my USP over a content creator? If it can't be speed or quantity, it has to be quality. Is that I'm going to offer that such good service, or the moment that when my film drops, even though that is moments which in a very raw form they have already seen before, I create them something that when they get to the end of that 8-10 minute highlight film are thoroughly blown away and go, that was worth every penny more that we paid for that than the content creator. Like, that is 2.5 or 3 grand worth of film, where our 3 minute
be
vertical
worth your value.
Thing is be worth your value and rise above it.
Do you think that in the market that me and you are in, so I'd say we're like
mid-market, I'd say,
yeah. Do you think that that's a little bit, not, I won't say safer, it's probably not the word, but I don't think we're sat here having only worked with 2 or 3 people each ourselves, I would say, whereas it looks like from the groups that some people work with loads. I know a lot of like higher end people work with content creators much more regularly, and I would imagine that a lot of a lot of the cheaper photographers and videographers probably work with content creators more regularly as well. At least cheaper photographers.
I think there'd be waves to it personally.
Okay.
I think and again, I can only speak for ourselves. Although we are in that market, we are definitely not the cheapest people in our market.
Yeah.
So the people that do book us invest in us. We're not hired because people go, I need a photographer, tick.
Yeah.
Because they would
Yeah,
buy,
yeah, yeah.
they would book someone cheaper.
They're investing.
So they're sold into us as people and our brands as much as our work. Which that then, if you are having a wedding of a certain budget, leaves a lot less money on the table if that's how you look at it for your content side of things. You have a budget for food, you have a budget for venue, you have a budget for photo, video, etc. Where if they've spent, $3,000 say on having you, they could probably go and get a cheaper videographer and a content creator for the same money or less.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of that depends on what you get. Like I would say at the very bottom end of the market, you're going to see a lot of content creators doing really well that are basically videographer
being hired as a videographer,
or as both.
Yeah.
People that are just generally, we have an absolute shoestring budget. We are getting married. I don't value photo and video enough that if you can come to my day for 300 or 400 quid
take it on your phone
and just Dropbox me a gallery of phone photos and a small video at the end, so that none of my guests have to be responsible for it, then I think there's probably content creators at that end clearing up. Yeah. Then you go all the way through, like you say, to the luxury end, where probably more content creators are getting hired by planners, florists, because those wedding days are so intense and so full on, they can't guarantee that the photographer has time to dedicate an hour to just photographing florals. Yeah. There's probably content creators at that end doing that. But I think in the middle, there's a mixture. I think if you get some people that really value content and will have both, or you'll get some people that are just seen as, do you know what, it'd be nice to have, we don't really have the budget for a videographer, so we'll just get content instead. Yeah. But I think maybe that's what we're seeing less as ourselves, is people that have got a really strong brand and are really clear about what they market.
True, yeah.
Where if you are a more generic photographer that follows the crowd, offers, your 1,500-1,600 quid, I'm just a nice, really good, competent photographer that don't really expel brand.
And the couple's not sure exactly what they're going to get from your galleries. Yeah.
It's almost like, well, do you know what? And I'm sure that, you've had it, or people joke to you in the past who've taken a phone on their next thing, go, okay, sure, if you fuck it up, mate, I've got it.
Yeah, definitely.
And they say it as like a jokey thing, but there is almost that element to it now. If you can say, well, do you know what? That content creator is my 500 quid insurance policy.
Yeah.
This is going to be covered.
Yeah.
So I think that's some of it. Yeah. I think it's some back to what I said earlier, isn't it? Yeah. I think that's some of the reason that maybe we've not worked with loads.
Yeah. It's a brand thing.
Or as a brand
style
thing,
as well. Like you say, our styles are much more natural than is the trend at the moment.
Or not content photos. There's a reason. I think I don't think I've ever made like a trending reel. Like a lot of these ones that come round that people jump on the bandwagon of the. Is it the moment? Is it the unfortunate things that I do? Like I don't engage in those, or I didn't do the the one that came before that, or a lot of people.
Unfortunate things you like.
Yeah,
one is.
I didn't do the take my younger self on for coffee, or there was like those things that kind of come through. And I think if you're someone which has built your marketing around those, and you've attracted couples through those reels, they are the couples which are much more likely to hire a content creator.
I think it's also perfection. Neither of us brand perfection.
Yes.
Like we both say it's like the reality of the day. And yes, some of it's polished, but it is reality.
Yeah, well, I guess it's like we said earlier. If you are someone which is only doing or leaning into that editorial style,
and it's Vogue all over your like grid and everything like that, then perhaps there's going to be that need for I want something that's not that as well. I'll do that, but I want something that's not that. Whereas if you look at like your grid, there's very much like natural moments on there. My grid is a bit more fun. There's the thumbnails probably aren't very good well framed and stuff, but once you get into the video, it's like.
And I think as well for you, I think having that camcorder stuff mixed in as well now.
Yeah.
It's almost that. It's that style of almost like content style thing. The fact that it's kind of guest shot, but it lends itself to that more kind of fun, nostalgic thing. I think that's some of it.
Yeah, people are starting to notice that now.
But don't you think there's an irony in it though? Is that when you used to go Instagram versus reality, you could argue that people are hiring the content creator for Instagram. Yeah. But if actually they're not, they're hiring the content creator for reality. Because what we're doing is so curated and removed. Yeah. If anything, the people that are coming in now are actually getting content creators to reclaim what is real in their day.
Yeah. Or what we're showing is curated. Maybe that's the problem.
Yeah.
We're showing too many things and couples looking at us like, oh yeah, but we want that, but we also want all the other stuff. You do capture the other stuff, but it's hidden in your gallery.
Yeah, because you don't feel that you can show it. Yeah. And because content creators, but then again, sometimes they're not showing it. Like I don't see, from the two that I've worked with, I haven't seen either of those couples post any of the content that they've made beyond the highlight film that the content creator delivered.
It's just
I
for
haven't
them,
seen, because I
maybe.
follow both
Yeah.
of my brides and my couples that had the content creators this year. I haven't seen either of them go, oh, here's a little video.
Little snippet, or
I know they've
something
watched it
happened.
because I got my lovely bride Becca sent me a clip the other day
Okay.
of me hiding in some bushes taking a photo.
Yeah.
And then funny enough, she sent it to me about 5 minutes before that. I was working on the photo that I took, and you can see the content creator holding her gimbal and pointing it at the bush that I'm in. So there's this weird Inception thing going on. And I was like, I took a picture of my Lightroom screen and was like, oh, look, there's me and there's that. And it was really kind of fun.
Yeah.
But it's really odd that kind of how that kind of works out.
Yeah.
Is that she was like, oh, like me and Dad have sat down and got through all the content, and she's like, and Dad just played Where's Wally with you in it.
Yeah.
And it's like spot on the photographer in the footage.
And that's just something they go through together rather than the Instagram thing that you think it's.
Which you think that's what you're hiring them
Yeah.
for. So maybe, again, because they're so new, that's kind of like the hidden bonus of a content creator, is what you actually probably got them for in the end isn't their true value.
Yeah.
So
true.
it'd be interesting to see how content creators maybe change their marketing going forward,
Start branding themselves,
or some of them will start to almost become documentary content creators, and some will become luxury
editorial
content creators.
creators.
And maybe that's it, because the genre is so new at the moment. They're still finding their niches as much as photo and video are settling into working with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great place to finish it.
I think it is. And
it'll be really interesting to see like where things go with content creation. Hopefully, we've provided like a nice balanced sort of view on it. I think we have. Like we're both pretty open to the idea. It's just you see a lot of things around, and we wanted to address everything as much as possible.
Yeah.
So if you are a photographer and a videographer and you have an opinion on it, let us know. If you're a content creator that listens to that, obviously this has listened to this, I'd love to hear your opinion on working with us and working with photo and video and what it's been like for you guys. And obviously we want to get a content creator on to talk about all
and
that
hopefully
stuff.
Now that we've just had that and what we've just said, more than one, I would like to get someone on who deems themselves as more of a luxury content creator, who is being hired to make really curated things. But I would also like to get another content creator on who maybe leans into that pure BTS of everything.
Who are really interesting to see.
Who are filming everybody working and enjoying as much as they are photographing or filming the couple.
Yeah.
So there's a few options.
It'd be really nice to have some different perspectives. And like as we always say, as a photo and video people sat here, we're not the couple, so we can't tell you what the couple's feeling.
Yeah.
And also we're not representative of everybody. We're just doing what we can to sort of put our opinions across and that kind of thing.
Amazing. I really enjoyed that. I think hopefully it's different enough to the content problem one that there's, because I think that is purely all around content creators. And I think that's keyed us up really nicely to get someone on. So hopefully we'll try and get that on. Whether it'll end up being this year now, I don't know. But it might be one of the very, very early January ones, maybe. Yeah, we'll try our best to do it when we can. Just depends on what happens with Baby Spice. It's got to be right. Yeah, that's it. Again, both of us have got big editing piles. You've got an imminent child arrival, which may kind of throw a spanner in the works with Pod. It all told. There might be a little break on the horizon, maybe. But again, thank you for watching.
Thanks for listening.
And we'll see you in the next one.